We had our first really nice snow last night. A lot of the leaves on the trees are still there and getting bent off. We're going to be moving towards winter pretty quickly here. And it's a good reminder to put some energy and focus on evolving and deepening our chicken compost system, thinking through how to make it more comfortable and enjoyable for them, and that there'll still be good food available for them as the ground gets colder and colder. So the first order of business today is to turn the pile as per usual. That's kind of the daily task. Then I wanted to share some notes of some concepts we're going to be trying to add in to make this whole system a little bit better. So stick with us. You can see the steam coming off. The compost is still certainly warm enough to give us a little wiggle room to refine our systems for the winter. I don't foresee it freezing or becoming inaccessible to them anytime soon. But while we have that wiggle room, it's time to design an evolution to this to make it a little bit better so that we can ensure that it stays warm all winter. You can see they're thriving this time of year on all the sprouted grain in there. The veggie scraps are still coming in and all that, but as we get heavier in snows and it's colder, icier, we don't want the chicken staff to move. I mean, this isn't all that far from their coop. It's about 15 feet, 20 feet, but maybe we can do better for them. So let's take a look. So each morning they're coming out of the south side of the coop here and walking over to the compost pile. The concept is, for this season, I just put one in position here. I'll figure out the relative location soon enough, but to run another cattle panel greenhouse, high tunnel, that runs parallel to their coop, north-south here, with the idea that it's a little bit more open on the far end and on this front end. We can always batten it down a little bit more with more poly, but at least the top all the way down to the ground will be covered with poly, and run their winter run right through the center of this. And this way, if it's raining or snowing, they can be out of that, they can be out of the wind, and their commute to work, so to speak, is about 6 feet. That's easy enough to shovel the snow and keep that out of the way. What's interesting is that this huge pin oak above us still has all its leaves, or a lot of its leaves, and even though it snowed and there's a fair amount of snow everywhere else, right under the pin oak there's this really nice shadow of open ground that they can still walk around without being in snow. We're not trying to coddle our birds or, make it this fancy scenario. They're our workers, and we respect our working crew and want to make sure their work conditions feel safe and healthy so that they can be productive. It's kind of what we want for ourselves and we want for our chickens as well. So I'm going to play around with this over the next few days, and I'll document as we go how this works. But part of the thought too is on the nastiest days, the chickens like to leave their coop and go right under the coop. There's dust bathing space under there. And if we can get this right, then there'll be a little walkway. This can act as a windbreak to protect that space, and we can insulate the edges with leaf bags and compost and containers right near the wood, and leave a little opening for them for airflow, but to keep that an insulated recreation space during the midday. It's kind of a mess down here, but I had 5 friends help me. It only took about 15 minutes with 5 people, but we moved the compost that was in this area. So basically the last 3 weeks worth of compost was moved into this pile in a short amount of time. And this is going to move out to the garden relatively soon. But the hope, sorry, they got the snow plows going on the road. The hope is to build this out and be able to have compost that occupies the space for the whole winter. So there's just really good intense warmth coming through this all winter. Potentially putting a PEX circuit or some sort of water exchange to run heating into the coop for the coldest times of winter. We'll have to see. Sasha's coming through with some buckets of restaurant food scraps for them. A little frosty, but lots of great stuff in there. Between the sprouted grains, the soil life, and the fresh food scraps, these chickens should remain pretty healthy through the whole winter. We'll share notes as this project evolves, but for now it's transitioning into a freezing rain. So we'll pause here, let the chickens eat for a bit, and take this as a cue to really get on with it and make their winter run a lot more comfortable for them. Thanks for watching.